Thank you for starting it, by the way. I'm not sure
Sure thing.
what the heck is going on behind the scenes. I took a quick look at the role permissions, and it all looks fine to me. So, yeah, I'll
try not to. I'll try not to exit early because that would presumably.
Yes, please, God, don't exit. You know what? Just stay up on stage until we're done.
I need to go now. See ya.
Boris has done that a couple times. The working group meetings. I'm like, no. It ends the whole thing.
That's right. Noah, mic check.
Mic check. 1 2 1 2.
Working.
We hear you.
It's crazy that with all the technology, we still have to do analog mic checks.
Isn't that great?
You know the little green bubble around when you talk? Yeah, you can't trust that. Sometimes it pops up and you still can't be heard. Excuse me. We'll just give it another couple minutes here before we start up. Sorry, go ahead.
I don't have any jokes prepared. You?
Prepared, semi-prepared. Let's see what I got. They're not good. All right, how is my wallet like an onion?
Go on.
Every time I open it, I cry. It's a bear market joke right there. Are you not entertained? All right, what do mermaids use to wash their fins? Tide.
Oof, works in countries where Tide is a product, I guess.
Oh, damn it. Yeah, I just assumed that was like global.
Oh, Joey, you made it.
The jokes are getting worse. Yeah, no disagreement there. Agreed, Rarman. Tide is dominant here. Excuse me. All right. 3 past. We'll just hold for another 30 seconds, and I think we'll get started. What kind of doctor is Dr. Pepper? Let's hear it, Jay.
I'm not sure if our man's trying to make a joke or he can't spell. With aisle and aisle. As I said, Target has an entire aisle dedicated to Tide.
A physician.
Yes.
Nice.
I mean, speaking island as in something that's in the ocean rather than aisle as in something in the store.
I mean, that's a pretty good, like, what would that be, a pun maybe? Whereas, like, there's literally an island of Tide products.
Except it wasn't a joke.
Let's just go with it was a joke. Nice job. All right. I think the jokes are, like Sigrid said, not getting any better. So let's just get started. So one moment here. I just want to make sure the recording is working. Okay. Oh my God. Wow, that is a crazy aisle full of Tide. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Okay. It is 12:05. How about we get started? So welcome everyone to this month's Helium Community Call. This one is a different date than it usually is. It's been pushed back a week due to some conflicts. So thank you, everyone. Just taking a look at the message there. No problem, man. Mad Ninja. If there is a storm and you get disconnected, no problem. That is all good. We'll look out for that. Thank you. So yes, I am your moderator, Keenan. Our note taker is Waveform. Thank you very much, Waveform. Just want to confirm you're taking notes.
Yep.
Perfect. Thank you. This call is recorded. It's recorded every time, every month, and we will post it in the Foundation channel. It will also be posted on the Foundation YouTube and I believe a couple other locations. I'll have to reconfirm on that, but it is recorded. You'll have access to it later if you miss it. You can always find our previous calls in the Foundation channel. And if you do come up onto the stage to speak about anything, just once again, you are being recorded. So just a heads up there. If there is any additional agenda items, questions, or anything else, feel free to ping us in the chat channel in the side there. I will also post, actually Waveform, if you don't mind posting the agenda for today. You can follow along in the agenda. Thank you, Waveform. It's just in the chat there. You can take a look. Feel free to ping us if you want to add anything. Just ping Waveform, actually, and we can kind of work on that behind the scenes. And I believe we are ready to go. So just a heads up, this call will probably be a little bit lighter. I know there are quite a few people at events this week. I think Token 2049 in Dubai. There's another event in San Francisco. There's a lot going on this month. So hopefully we have some people check in. We've got updates from a lot of people. Oh, there you go. Raran is at an event. It's called a community call, baby. Yeah, awesome. We'll do our best today. So if people are able to chime in, great. If not, it is what it is. Thank you, Joey. There you go. Yeah, there's a picture from one of the events. Stallions. Yep, absolutely. All right, so I just want to get started off as I usually do with a quick reminder about Discord safety. Once again, there are a lot of scammers in the community that like to call themselves Helium support, Helium official support. They will clone our names. I just saw one the other day that someone was getting help from quote unquote me, and they posted a screenshot, and it was literally my profile picture, my name, and it was directing them to click on some sort of link where it would inevitably scam them by them entering their seed phrase or something along those lines. Please, please, please note, there is no support here, no official support. Anyone sending you a DM, first of all, is a scammer 99% of the time. I will say that 1% of the time we may ask a question, but usually we'd ask it in public first. Please take a look at these users' names. It's very clever. So for example, I mentioned that the scammer was using my name and profile picture. If you look closely by clicking on their name, it'll say, instead of Keenan, it'll say period Keenan or Keenan period or Keenan 1. They'll make it very, very similar. They can't have the same name, but just please, please, please look out for that. If you have any questions, ask them in public. If there is something private that needs to be discussed, we will take it to DMs after and confirm that it's the real person there. So just please be aware of that. If you have any questions, concerns, anything like that, feel free to message me in public. Myself, Waveform, any of the moderators, we would be happy to help you in public. And yeah, just please be aware, scammers are still all over the place, not just this Discord, all of them, Twitter, etc. This counts for everywhere. Do not share your 12 words. Do not click any links that you don't know what they are. You'll get some technobabble thrown at you about RPC soul errors. It's all BS. Don't be fooled into it. All right, so please be careful. Secondly, if everyone wouldn't mind, it would be fabulous if you've been using the Helium wallet app. If you can go onto the App Store or Play Store and drop a quick review and let us know what you think. The team has been working diligently and around the clock to make huge improvements to the app. And there's a lot of new features that have been introduced and are still coming. A lot of bugs that have been squashed. And actually, as Waveform posted in the chat, if you have any comments as well, pop them into the hashtag Helium wallet channel, and we can kind of help you there with specific issues. But again, if you have a moment, please drop us a review on the Play Store or App Store. We would really appreciate it. Okay, and I think we can get moving on to the engineering update. So, For the engineering update, we have Noah up here. So Noah, I see him typing, probably something to do with the. Oh, never mind. You know what? Just say it in public, Noah. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say, if you have a 5-star review, leave that review. If you have a 1-star review, just, file it into DevNull or somewhere else.
Yes, if you have a problem with the app, if it's a 1-star review, please reach out to us first in Helium Wallet or anywhere in the Discord. We will be happy to get that sorted.
Yeah, I mean, actually, like, even bad reviews on the App Store help because I also look there to figure out where there are bugs to squash. But obviously, we prefer to get them sorted in Discord where we can actually talk to you. Anyway, so speaking of bugs and things that cause bugs in the engineering update, the biggest thing that we did this last cycle was we upgraded from Anchor 28 to Anchor 31 and from Solana 1.16 to Solana 2 plus. So like these are some very major upgrades. Unfortunately, in doing these upgrades, we were also forced to upgrade React Native, which was another huge upgrade. Anyone who's in software will tell you that there's just this relentless march of progress, and eventually we call it code rot, but eventually you're forced to upgrade. So whole bunch of things getting upgraded. I think we're actually one of the first protocols on Solana to do the Solana major upgrades, which is cool. Anyway, this caused some bugs, so we're doing a lot of firefighting. Most of it is stuff behind the scenes that I don't think anybody would have seen here, like some issues with VHNT diverging on chain, but all that's fixed now. So please, if you see any bugs in Wallet app, most likely it's a result of this upgrade. So please report them. We're trying to squash them all. That was most of what we've been doing. There are some smaller things that were quick changes, like the location assert fee on IoT. I think went from $10 to $1. There were some changes in the IoT onboarding and location assert fees. I forget exactly what they were.
Yeah, $10 down to 1.
Yeah, so much cheaper to do stuff with your IoT hotspots now, which is great. And there's some bug fixes actually coming out. Should be like today or tomorrow around asserting locations on IoT hotspots. There was a weird bug in iOS where it was like freezing the whole app. I think due to the React Native upgrade. So yeah, endless stream of things. The other big thing that's hopefully going to be coming in the next Wallet app update is automated claims of your hotspot rewards, which will be really nice, especially for people that have 20 plus hotspots where waiting for the claim transactions to run is a real pain. You can just set it to claim weekly or monthly or daily, and it will automatically do that for you.
Yeah, I saw you posted a little teaser on Twitter. Maybe someone can drop that in the chat, but it looks awesome, and that's a feature that everyone's been waiting for. I think that's super exciting.
Yeah, next up, if this works well, is I want to automate the like staking and delegation rewards claiming, because that's also a pain.
Yeah, super cool. That's awesome. Sorry, I don't know if we touched on this. The HIP implementation status. If there's anything to add there.
Well, on the HRPs, let me look at this last one. We did the Anchor 31 and Solana 2 upgrade. HIP 103, I'm not sure. Mad Ninja would probably know about that. Actually, I think
Yeah,
they're
so
yeah.
yeah,
1
so
and
basically
3.
that was rolled out. It was rolled out. It's basically a multiple urban area multiplier adjustment for any area that starts with like where that is a low footfall area down to 0.03 as a multiplier. That was rolled out. It was a pretty easy change, and basically moved about, I think it was 18 or 20% of the POC pool back to like higher footfall areas, which is a good refocus on areas that are important for deployment.
It looks like there's also add data transfer and proof of coverage ban.
Yes, thank you. Just desperately clicking links. The other thing that was added was basically the ability for, as everybody knows, like Nova's already been banning hotspots for either cheating locations or farming data. That was somewhat invisible to the community when that happened, and so by adding support to that for the oracles, it's essentially one, it's reinforced by the verifier. So beyond, if a hotspot gets banned, Nova as a maker will end up disabling that hotspot, but the network ends up like declining it rewards regardless of whether the hotspot is physically disabled or not. And so the ban oracle on mobile will basically allow us to ban a hotspot from either data or POC rewards. Currently only used in gaming analysis for blatantly gaming either location or data.
Nice. Oh, another thing I want to just touch on while we have everyone here, just because trying to continually get the word out about this. There was a change in with a recent HIP that made it so when you stake and you delegate to a subnetwork, it used to be that your delegation choice actually directly affected your rewards. So if you delegated to IoT, you would earn IoT. And so you were sort of trying to come up with, I mean, a lot of people were trying to come up with the mathematical way to get the most rewards, not choosing which network they believed in the most. That has changed now. So it doesn't matter which network you delegate to, your rewards are going to be the same. The other thing that's changed is you have to be voting to get rewards, or you proxy your vote to someone that is voting for you. So if you're a staker and you've delegated to a subDAO, please review your delegation and make sure that you're choosing it not based on what you think will maximize rewards for you, because it won't, but instead by which subnetwork you think actually deserves more HNT going to it, because your delegation directly controls the split. So right now, about 60% of VHNT is delegated to mobile, 40% is delegated to IoT. That means if 100 HNT are emitted, 60 of it will go to mobile deployers and 40 of it will go to IoT deployers. So this makes a very, very big difference in the growth of the network, because when you're talking about going to deploy a hotspot in either network, it completely changes your calculations on, whether it's going to be profitable or not. So if you stake HNT, this is very, very important. And also just be aware that throughout the month of July, you will need to re-up your delegation because they expire August 1st. This is also just to keep these things from getting stale. So just putting that on everyone's radar.
Yeah, no, thank you for the reminder. And if you're curious how to do that, super, super simple. Again, use the Helium Wallet app. At the bottom, there's a bunch of buttons. Click the one that looks like a little courthouse icon. That's the governance tab. From the drop-down menu, just click positions, and it'll have your staking positions there. You can undelegate, redelegate from there. Yeah, go ahead and do it. That'd be fantastic. Super, super simple. And just for the sake of adding this to the recording, Jay did have a quick question. He says, I may have missed it. Is the auto claim function for hotspots and VEHNT positions, or just one of those? And it is just for hotspots currently. Staking will be, auto claim will be coming later. Just wanted to get that in there.
Yeah. I want to get people's opinions too on hotspots. You get to choose how often you want it to claim, because it doesn't really matter how often you claim it. Whereas the staking rewards, you have to run one instruction per day at least, because it's like you have staking rewards per day. So I'm curious if people would prefer that be something that's running automatically every day when you stake, i.e. you don't have to like opt into it. It's just something that you have, or if people would rather have that as something you opt into. I think, it might have some tax implications, so I'm not sure if people want it automatically.
Gotcha. And sorry, one more thing to add here. Again, just for the call, there is a statement saying, are you saying we should change our delegation from IoT to mobile? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, as Noah is as well, delegate to what network you believe in. just make sure you're aware of who you're delegating to. I think there's people who delegated quite a while ago who have just kind of forgotten about it. So if you want to make sure that you're involved with the network, you can go and redelegate. You can proxy to someone else who can vote for you. There's a lot you can do these days that you couldn't do before. So just a quick note there.
Yeah, I would say like you can't like I can't tell you whether it's better to delegate to IoT or mobile because you're talking about future potential, right? So which fire do you want to pour more gasoline on? The more delegation towards a certain subnetwork, the more deployments you're going to get, the more, data credit burn potentially you get. So you're trying to choose which network you think is going to burn more data credits in the future, which will help HNT. So you know, there's a data credits dashboard on Dune, which I can link here, so you can go look at the current burn rate, and then you wanna choose basically the network that you think is going to optimize for more data throughput.
That's exactly it. So, yeah, just again, we're not asking you to make a certain choice. We're just telling you how you can choose and to make your own decision there. Definitely hang out in the Discord, get some people's opinions, and make your own choice on that. All right. Thank you, Noah and Mad Ninja, for that. That is awesome. I think we are good on the engineering update, so appreciate it. We are going to move forward to a grants update from Sam. Take it away, Sam.
Yes. Hey, can you hear me right now?
Yep. Loud and clear.
Oh, cool. It's telling me I have an error on Discord, so that's good.
Typical
Everyone,
Discord.
so should be fairly short today, but just a reminder. So we launched the new Helium Capital Program a little over a month ago with a focus on funding Helium native applications, network enablement, and building strategic network coverage. I think I went through the majority of the new things we had funded last call, but I've continued to do a little bit more there. We just funded a device management layer instance on ChirpStack with Neil, which should make it easier for those, a little bit more of a throwback to the console, make it easier for people to start getting going with IoT and LoRaWAN and hopefully developing interesting applications. I also have been speaking to a bunch of investors and other people in the community, and I'll be launching a 4-month podcast that really tries to sort of like level set what Helium is today in 2025. I think a lot of people have interacted with Helium at some time in the past several years, and some of them think of it as IoT, some of them think we have 3 tokens, and really want to like focus on what we are today. I also want to dive into some of the metrics and great growth we've had that investors care about and sort of don't know where to locate, and then even expand to things like conversations that are had on here that other people don't know about, which like something like a deployer roundtable, right? Like when you approach a venue, what is the sort of conversation you have with them? What's the split you do with them? What is Helium Plus? A huge growth driver that I think a lot of folks don't know about with that. So excited about that one. And then really, I think the main event here is that as we push for the next second half of the year, like building strategic network coverage is going to be probably our primary focus. So I've done some smaller things around that. Some Helium Plus guide grants we've done. We're continuing to fulfill hardware grants down in Mexico. I'm actually really excited. I'm about to send a contract out for our first Helium Mexico ambassador, whose prime focus is going to be driving qualified installations down in expansion zones in Mexico. So that person will be responsible for sourcing a pipeline of venues, of course, growing our deployer network down there. But importantly, for the deployers on this call, I would love him to meet all of you as soon as possible because he hits his KPIs by helping you all out, and we all win if we get qualified installations. So he's a great guy. He's got about 10 to 15 years of telco experience before this, so he really understands sort of how this all works. And then the last piece would be one thing that we're going to roll out hopefully in the next month is sort of a new landing page around a large initiative that the Helium Foundation is going to take to subsidize large deployments both in the US and Mexico. I'll have more details about the specifics of that, but in the meantime, obviously the people on this call are closest to what's going on, so don't feel like you need to wait for that landing page. If you have a huge opportunity and you want to understand what's on the table to sort of bootstrap that, please DM us, email us, and we could potentially work with you before that. So That's pretty much it for today.
Yeah, thanks, Sam. And just for everyone's sake, I think Sam, you hang out in the Foundation channel a lot as well. Regarding email, do you want like your specific email or just the
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Foundation
Sorry, I'll
email?
put it in the chat, but just for the sake of the recording, it's
Yeah.
slewis@helium.foundation. So it sounds like Slewis at helium.foundation.
That is perfect. Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you for the update. Okay, moving on to our next topic here is Helium Mobile Network update from Mad Ninja.
Oh boy, look at me putting on my product hat. I'm sure, Joey, I apologize ahead of time for everything I will now misspeak. But yeah, I wanted to cover real quick sort of what happened since the last update. Obviously, everybody hopefully saw like the AT&T announcement, which is effectively AT&T officially stating that they're selecting Helium hotspots, both green and brownfield, so both Helium mobile hotspot as well as the data only hotspots in brownfield kind of locations. For data offload, like an official sort of public statement with corresponding press that goes with that, which is great for the network and a great recognition by AT&T that we're meaningful to them. Of course, the focus there continues to be on non-residential deployments. All right, that doesn't change really anything as far as like deployment or selection of hotspot goes. Like non-residential deployments are still sort of key for carrier selection and for carrier offload. And as many deployers have seen, like once you get selected for offload in a good non-residential area, like your data rewards like outstrip your PSV rewards like handily, like very, very easily. So like getting into like businesses are great places for deployers to get quality deploys and get selected for offload and earn for data. Together with the AT&T announcement, we announced a carrier toolkit, which is just focused at carriers, of course, and it includes like three main pieces. One of them is an offload manager, which is something that tries to give carriers the tools to indicate to deployers where they want offload to start happening. You see this in use by Movistar in Mexico, where they've indicated in called expansion zones, indicated what the areas are where they would like to see the hotspots deployed. We expect the same to start happening more in the US as the tooling gets better and carriers get more engaged with this. But it effectively offers a very clear for carriers to indicate where they want to have more offload and like based on their demands, and for deployers to see where offload demand actually exists. The second part of the carrier toolkit is quality metrics, which basically says like, well, if we already have some quality metrics today in hotspots, and those are related to like speed test and latency, which is sort of unheard of for many offload systems, and it's something that carriers really appreciate to understand that, assuming that the offload, like the backhaul metrics are good, it's more likely hospital will get selected because the user experience for the carrier's users is still theirs to manage. They want to retain their subscribers, of course. And so this is sort of key to get them for them to like pick hotspots that they know are good. Second to that comes like the new wireless Wi-Fi metrics, which includes stuff like what is used, the noise floor, the bit rates, frame loss, and blah blah blah. Basically, it's a whole bunch of additional quality metrics that allow carriers to look at whether hotspots actually users connecting to hotspots are having a good experience. And so it's a sort of a key set of new, like very valuable tooling for carriers to like look at to determine what the UX for subscribers is and help in their hotspot selection or deselection for that matter. And then lastly, there is an overall carrier dashboard that basically allows carriers to check on the health of a network or a group of hotspots in a network, either look at individual one or like at a cluster of them or a fleet of them to like see how they're doing in aggregate. And we'll work on refining that over time as we need to. So that's sort of for the AT&T and carrier toolkit side. On the Mexican front, let's give a quick movie star update. As we all know, like we've already, as most of you may know, there was 315 expansion zones that have already been painted by Movistar in Mexico, which is great. It's using the same sort of carrier toolkit like with Offload Manager to essentially like paint areas where they would like to have offload enabled, and in those areas the POC multiplier is automatically 1 in Mexico for hotspots. We're working to expand those zones and going quite well. Working to expand those zones to like more high density areas in Mexico to allow for more deployment opportunities. And that's also going well. And then lastly, the traffic enablement is still scheduled for June/July timeframe, so in a couple of months here, through a carrier bundle update from Movistar, which effectively will allow all their users to start offloading through hotspots. I think that's it.
Awesome. Thank you for the update. I'm just taking a look at the chat. If there's any questions there. If there's anything you want to address, by all means, go for it, or we can just kind of do it in the chat.
Yeah, here's the question around like, will those quality metrics be available publicly? We're definitely looking at that. I'm a big driver for making more data public to help deployers do better. And I think it's sort of critical there. If we can get some form, whether it's aggregate statistics, so you don't give away too much about specific subscribers, that would help a deployer optimize their installation. That's sort of critical, right? More metrics is better deployments. In fact, I could see how those metrics could be used at some point by the network to affect their earnings if we really wanted to. But let's just take that one step at a time, I guess. I think Mackenbank is asking if there's a trusted deployer list where we can submit locations for review. We don't really have that today. We basically already look at every week, because I don't necessarily want to limit like who gets selected or not. We basically rather than a deployer list, we look at locations and we look at all the POIs across the country. We submit them. The batch size that we submit every 2 weeks is limited to the big MNOs. They were limited by the MNOs. And so we submit those, we go into review, and then they come back. And so we do that. We definitely like have an easier time like validating where their hotspots is actually where it says it is with a trusted deployer. And that's already happening if you're in a deployer grant or something like that. But right now we basically just pick hotspot based on like good locations that they're in, and go off of that. Yeah, don't tag me. I can't help you get selected.
I do see you get tagged a lot.
Oh.
Right. Just taking another look for any questions there. I think we're good.
All right.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate the update there as well. And we'll talk to you in a little while.
And
next up, we've got the working groups. So first up, we've got a update from the mobile working group from Jay. Hi, Jay.
Hey, Keenan. Hey, everybody. I think between Mad Ninja and Noah, a lot of what I'm would normally say got covered already, but a few things that they definitely didn't get to. I'm going to start with a reminder of when our meetings are. We meet every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern here on the Discord. It's on the working group stage, which you'll find in the governance HIPS section. Encourage you to join us. We have good, thorough discussions on everything facing the mobile network every week. And my favorite part of the call, besides our robust discussions, we finish every call with our longtime member Keith R asking questions to either Boris or Mad Ninja or Mario, somebody from Helium Mobile, with deployer questions. So, deployer best practice type questions. And I find them, even though I kind of do this more or less full time deploying hotspots, I always find them insightful questions and helpful responses. So I encourage you to join us for the working group call every week. Before this community call next time, May is one of our election months. So keep your eyes out if you want to self-nominate yourself to join the mobile working group. Keep your eyes out over the next couple of weeks. I'm sure Waveform will be sharing that information. It's certainly not up yet because we're not even in May yet, but we won't be back here before those self-nominations are opened up. So if you do want to join us, I encourage you to nominate yourself to do so. Going over the previous month, we already touched on HRP 2025-04. That passed with over 91% of the vote and is, I believe, fully implemented at this point. We also passed HIP 143, which was decoupling service provider pricing from governance. That also passed with well over 90% of the vote. Coming up, we have HIP 144, which is Mobile Hotspot Rewards Escrow. This has been something we've been talking in the working group for over a month. So even before our last community call here, and there's been a lot of thoughtful discussion on how we should proceed with it, because it's pretty clear that some deployers don't like it while other deployers do. So where we kind of left it, and this is what we'll be going for a vote, I believe this week, maybe even today, the proposal authorizes NOVA to introduce a 30-day delay or rewards escrow period, but it doesn't mandate that they do so. And the reasons for this are kind of twofold. I don't want to even call it controversial, but the differing opinions on the necessity of this and the effect that this would have. But also at the same time, for the past few weeks, we've been having different discussions on how we might accomplish this sort of goal with a different way of thinking about proof of coverage and almost making it a proof of usefulness type metric. And that's still well in the discussion period. And that aspect of it won't be going live for a vote anytime soon. But that's, in my mind anyway, the main reason. Joey says probing. It's utility probing. In my mind, that's the main reason that we are not mandating HIP 144 be implemented, but allowing it to be implemented if necessary. HIP 142 passed before the last community call that was adding inversion capital as a service provider. That passed with over 99% of the vote. We had a representative from Inversion Capital join us and allowed us to ask them some probing, just to use that word again, probing questions about their efforts in Latin America and other geographic areas. It sounds like they are still in the process of acquiring an MVNO in Mexico, and are still looking at those other Latin American markets. I recall off the top of my head, she mentioned Ecuador and maybe it was Uruguay. There were 2 or 3 in Latin America, and I know they're at least looking at Southeast Asia as well. Looking over my notes here. Brownfield onboarding is continuing. That is a Helium Mobile specific update that Boris had given us, or Mario, one of them had given us, with 250,000 expected to be coming online over the next several months. We're currently at about just under 94,000. So that's some serious growth coming via brownfields. In Telefonica Mexico, Nova's relationship with them. Nova's trying to find denser, safer sites for their 2.3 million subs to be able to use our network. And I believe the observed demand layer was already touched on. That's, if you have not seen that, I encourage you to check it out on Helium World. As a deployer, that will give you a really good insight on where on different locations where you might be able to, I don't want to say expect, but where you can anticipate some data usage on your hotspot. I think that's the only updates I have. We're always talking about quality metrics and anti-gaming measures. But like I mentioned, also very deployer-specific conversations as well every week. So remember to join us weekly, 2 p.m. here on the Discord. Happy to answer any questions, but I don't see any in the chat.
Yeah, just taking a look myself there. Nothing yet, but we can just kind of watch that channel. Yeah, thank you, Jay. I appreciate it. And as you mentioned, the call is Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern. Is that 11 Pacific? If you're looking for the calls in Discord, there's a little tab. If you're on desktop, if you just scroll to the channel list, to the very top, you'll see events. Click that tab, and it'll be listed there as mobile working group. You can click the little icon to remind yourself every week, and it'll pop up and remind you whenever the call's starting. Also, the calls are recorded and they're posted in the mobile working group channel. So you can scroll back. I think we've got years of it now, actually. You can scroll back and listen to all the recordings as well. Another quick note is recently I've been doing AI summaries and posting those in the channel as well as Twitter. So if you don't have time to listen to the whole call, at very minimum, you can read it and kind of get a general idea of what the topics discussed that week were. So please look out for that. If you have any tips or comments on how I can improve that, absolutely let me know. My goal is to make sure everyone is well informed. So all feedback welcome. Thank you again, Jay, for the mobile working group. Next up, we've got the IoT working group. That's an update from BFG Neil. If I see it, Neil, I'm just going to invite you up. There you go. Take it away.
You hear me okay?
Yep, can hear you.
Okay, so yeah, we meet on Monday nights. For anyone that's interested in joining along, looking at what we've done over the last month. The first change, sorry, the door. I apologize.
No worries at all. We'll just hang on for a second. Good time for a dad joke, though. If someone's got one.
I'm so sorry about that. I'm making everyone wait for me. I'm so sorry, but I had to do it.
You're all good. You're all good.
I apologize. Yeah, so the first thing that we did recently was lower the onboarding costs. It now costs $10 to onboard a hotspot, and it's $1 to change the location it's at. And that was voted in by the IoT working group. It means that if you're resetting a hotspot, you're more likely to do it. $10 was quite a lot, and we felt stopping people from updating it or using the existing stock of hotspots. So lowering those costs makes it much more easier to use the existing stock. The next thing that we've been working on, there's a few grants in the background. One of them's from Star Watcher, and it's related to the deny list on IoT. That has been progressing. I think we're at milestone 2. So the control of the deny list is how it's generated is something that we can access now. There's some finer details that we're trying to work out. But eventually, when that's done, we'll be able to put new classifiers in place to catch some of this gaming. So reduce the amount of gaming on the IoT network. And that's something that we can work together with the community. And there's a lot of good ideas around that. And those classifiers are something that we can create. The next one was Frenchman. Frenchman has put into latest HRP. So I get the two confused sometimes. And that's related to metrics on the IoT network around number of devices and how much it's used. This will help inform our decisions going forward about pricing and things like that. So there's also some extra work from Frenchman again around multi-buys and allowing people to set their own multi-buy limits and work out how that works. There's also some work in that that's related to LNSs being able to select hotspots that they don't want to receive data from. So this is really handy if you're roaming. There's a double spend problem. So if you've got existing coverage in an area and you enable Helium roaming, you're going to hear it from your coverage and Helium and pay for it. So this new multi-buy system will allow someone to blacklist hotspots in an area so they don't have a double spend problem. More likely to use Helium for roaming, in my opinion. There's been a couple of grants as well that we've denied, that we've been working through. I've obviously got a grant from the foundation for it's basically like a new console that sits on top of ChirpStack. It gets rid of some of those, ChirpStack's really hard to use and really hard to set up for end users, but this system will look and work similar to the way console did. So you have the flows-based editors that anyone can add. Long-term goals for that project are alerts and storage and dashboards and things like that, but early stage, it will just look like console. I think that's everything. Yep.
Awesome. Well, thank you. If you have any little sneak peeks at that system, feel free to drop them in the chat.
Sure.
Cool. That's super exciting. And Neil already mentioned it, but I'll just remind everyone, the IoT working group meets every Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 Pacific. Again, same spiel as the mobile working group. They are recorded and posted in the IoT working group channel, so you can always go back and listen to those, as well as the AI summaries, which get posted in the channel and on Twitter, so you can read those summaries. And once again, you can go to the events tab, either on your desktop or on your phone. Look for the IoT working group or mobile working group, click the little reminder, and you won't miss it. Please join in on those. It's always great to have more in the audience and more people engaged. So would love to see you there. All right, and one more time, Mad Ninja, please. We've got Mobile Hit 144. I don't know. I know you probably discussed this a little bit already, but if there's anything else to add there. Mobile hotspot rewards escrow.
Yeah, so I think Jay may have mentioned it, but essentially, like 144 is a proposal. So remember that we have like HRPs, which is basically sort of a monthly release cadence that the community gets to vote on, but requires like anything in anything that's proposed in an HRP needs to come with an implementation to try to keep a release cadence going. One of the things that came up while we were looking at mobile hotspot gaming was that it's relatively cheap for a hotspot deployer to deploy, game either location or data, earn back the cost of their hotspot, and even if the hotspot is then disabled, it's they can just go get another one and do it again. And so like that's sort of what we're trying to. I know it's work, but there are apparently people that think that's a useful waste of their time. And so the proposal for InHIP 144 tries to address this by effectively putting more at stake for the deployer. And that is done by gathering a rolling window of rewards for 30 days. So you always have like the last 30 days of rewards at stake before you can, and which could get slashed if your hotspot gets caught gaming. The idea is that like as the hotspot grows and shrinks its rewards because it gets selected for offload or whatever, or gets into like a better POC area, is that the rolling window allows you to you sort of adjust dynamically based on the hotspot's earnings. The trick for people. I think one of the complications for people to understand was that it's a rolling window, and so effectively, like you on any given day, you can claim the rewards from 30 days ago. Is sort of how that in simplest words, how to put that. So the upside for that is there is more at stake for the deployer, which makes it less likely for them to game. The downside is, of course, there's 30 days of rewards outstanding that are sort of somewhat subject to price risk and uncertainty, and there's more importantly, there's some confusion that has to be explained by people. So, because it was like a bigger change both in how rewards are done and managed, we said maybe a HIP is a good way to like get the community to agree that this is a good thing or a bad thing. Before we actually go and try to implement that in a HIP. So the way the HIP is worded, thanks Fairby for helping with that, is to effectively say like the community agrees that this is a good idea, and if Nova decides that this is important to like implement, which we may or may not do, it would end up in an HRP, and the community gets to vote on that HRP yet again, right, to see whether they actually want to go ahead with the implementation of that. I believe that's going up for vote shortly here, and so we'll be ready to. We can see what the community thinks here. Hopefully that was clear enough. Thanks, Waveform. So the vote should come this week.
Yeah, excellent. I put in the chat there the channel if you want to go jump in and take a read. There's quite a bit of conversation in there for lots of scroll back, but yeah, if you want to go talk about it, channel's there for you. Yeah, thank you, Mad Ninja. Appreciate it again.
Of course.
All right, and it looks like lastly we've got a discussion regarding HRP 2025-05.
Don't know if Joey.
Going?
I don't know if Joey's got a mic available.
Let's see. Joey, are you available? We'll hold there for 1 second. He's not. Okay. Thank you, Joey.
I thought so. Yeah. So, yeah, it was. We assumed Joey would be available on the call, but not available to speak. Yeah. So HRP 2025-05 has only got one item in its roadmap, which is the IoT metric service, which was discussed a little bit by Neil earlier. Was implemented by Joey and Frenchman. One of the main questions that's always asked is how many sensors are there out there? And it's as everything's permissionless, it's been hard to know. So what this will do is a project to analyze the traffic on the network. One of the main things is to provide an idea of how many sensors there are, and provide additional stats on what the sensors are and the status of the network. There's a lot more detail in the HRP I've just posted. And as Joey says, it's a rough guide. We won't have definite numbers. It is a guide to, it's probably going to be a, are we going up, are we going down number with a rough idea of numbers rather than this is how many sensors there are. And that's the only thing in the HRP this month. The data will be, some of it will be available on world.helium.com, which is the replacement for Explorer, if people don't know about that already. World.helium.com is a work in progress. There's lots of work going on in the background for new features. If you've not seen it, it's a lot better at providing information in Explorer for some questions that people had, and not for others. But that's what we're working on. And yes, this will be up for vote this week. There are going to be 2 votes this week, one for HIP 144 and one for HRP 2025-05. So all those people who are not earning from their staking positions at the moment, you have the ability to vote on these 2 votes. and then you will be, as long as you're delegated, you will then have income from your staking positions. One thing that maybe not realized is that while the votes are live, because there are 2 votes live, you are assumed to be voting even if you haven't. So yes, you will receive staking rewards for any position while the votes are live. And if you didn't vote when the votes end, you will stop receiving staking rewards. So and staking rewards that were created recently will start to earn staking rewards as well as soon as the votes happen. Any questions on that? If you don't understand that, I'm always available in Governance General or Helium Wallet to explain that again. Every time I try to explain it, someone else comes with a great new question, which I'm trying to put together in a document so that we can educate everybody on where it's going. And I shall wait for Siegfried's question. He's going to wait for him to type. All the vote statuses are available in the wallet, whether you voted 2 times or not, for each position. So if you go in the wallet and check your positions, it will tell you whether you voted how many times in the last 4 votes. So there's been some problems with the wallet in the past where you could have voted, but not all your positions voted, because if you've got, say, 10 positions and you vote, it will try and make a vote transaction happen for all 10 positions. If you run out of Sol during that period, only some of them would vote and some not. We've had that problem before. So yeah, make sure your Sol's topped up and vote everything. Siegfried. Siegfried, even positions earned during voting that only would meet one of the 4 governance criteria after a vote. So there's only 1 vote going on. I think your question is if I've got 1 vote banked, as in I voted last time, then if there's only 1 vote occurring, then yes, you would count for 2. But you won't if you've got no votes banked and 1 vote is occurring, you have only got 1 of the most recent 4. And as always, we shall mention that there are proxies available. You can select a proxy in the wallet. You can also proxy to someone else you know that's not a public proxy. You can proxy to yourself so that with if you've got 10 wallets, you can point 9 at 1 wallet and vote with 1 wallet. Proxying is not necessarily public. If you know someone else who votes and you trust them, you can ask what their wallet is, and if they are willing to give it to you, you can proxy to that person as well, rather than any of the public.
Yeah, and that's a good note as well. I think there's been a lot of comments about, well, I don't pay attention to the network that much, or I'm busy in work, I'm busy in life. I don't have time to check on the votes. Absolutely, that's fine, but proxy, and then you don't have to worry about it. Just make sure you assign that proxy, and it's easily done in the app, like you mentioned.
If you're a deployer who has lots of hosts, and those hosts are staking, you could ask them to proxy to you, and you vote.
Absolutely, it's yeah, it works a lot of different ways. So, yeah, either way, get out there and vote.
That's it for me.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you, Waveform. I think we've come to the end of the call. So just another quick reminder that although this call was on the 30th of April, we're going back on schedule next month. So it will be, I believe it's scheduled for May 21st. If you're looking for the community calls, again, they'll be in the events tab. There was a bit of a glitch. I had to remove them. They're not there right now, but after this call, I will be re-adding them. So you can click on that events tab, click the little icon, and it'll remind you. Once again, this call has been recorded. It will be posted in the Foundation channel later on, as well as other, I believe, YouTube possibly Twitter. And I will be doing a summary of the call as well. If there's anything else to add for next month, feel free to tag myself or Waveform in the Discord. We'd be happy to hear your questions, comments, concerns. And I think that is it for everyone. Thank you, everyone who joined, all the speakers, very much appreciated. And we will see you next month. Thank you, everyone. Have a good afternoon.